So I went along the gravel road and found some rocks that I wanted to use for the weight and the counterweight. I really like this rock here to use as the main weight. And it's around 1,100 grams, 1,200 grams, something like that. I'd have to weigh it again. But I didn't want to use wire. So I got these concrete drill bits, and I tried drilling a hole, but that's all the hole I could drill, and I've got several concrete drill bits. So I think the rock's too hard for my concrete drill bits. So I'm probably going to have to use wire. Hashtag sad. Like I said, this is the rock I want to use for my main weight, and it's a little over 1,300 grams. I haven't done the bucket test. I think it might work. Okay, this is going to be part 2 of me working on this Anno 1640 clock. I told you in this video that I was going to take this thing apart so you could see how it's made. First of all, I have to take this pin on top of the wheel hands off. It's all wooden parts, so you want to be careful with it. And like I said, the hand is attached to this wheel, and it's a single hand. And you can see the 4 pins, and these are metal pins that the wheel attaches to make the hands turn. As the great wheel rotates, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not, but as the great wheel rotates, those pins rotate. You should have seen the pins rotate. But anyway, I have to get my bungee cord off of here, so that's why I'm taking this thing apart again. And this pin here broke on me last time, so I'll have to put something else in it. I can get my bungee cord out now. This shaft here that has the entry and exit pallet, it's connected to this eye bolt down here, so that's going to prevent me from taking this thing all the way apart. So in order to take it all the way apart, I'd have to undo my line here. And pull this shaft through this hole, but again, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to put it all back together. But as you can see, it's all wooden except for the pivots, which I'm sure it's probably a steel rod that goes all the way through. And this goes on this side of that shaft, the escapement wheel shaft. So let me see if I can snap it all back into place. The escapement section, there's a metal wire that it fits in right here. Hopefully y'all can see that. There's a metal wire that pivot fits in. Almost there. I'm gonna have to get on my eyes, and I'm gonna put this together off camera, but you should see what I'm talking about, how everything fits. You know, when I film, I got this camera in front of me. I think I got it just then. And so, a lot of times this camera hinders what I'm trying to do. And like I said, I had to come up with a different stick for the very last one. Bamboo skewer seems to work just fine. Now, I need to put a rope on, and I went out and bought some rope Saturday. I went out and bought this multi-purpose clothesline rope. It's got a 12-pound load limit on it, which doesn't make a lot of sense. And most of the time, your wet clothes, unless you're only going to put 2 or 3 clothes on a clothesline, is going to weigh more than 12 pounds. And I'm only going to cut just a couple of feet off this rope. I've got 100 foot. I could waste some. And the reason why I'm only going to cut a couple of feet off is because I'm going to test it on my test stand there, so I don't need more than a couple of feet. If you like my rocks, I think the rope is too small because it slips. You know, it ratchets well, but it slips. My friend I got the clock off of used twist rope. I also made up these rocks. I can't do this with one hand. Stand by. I made up these rocks, but I think they're too big. And I also think I didn't put this clock back together right, because it's not ratcheting the way I want it to ratchet. But the main thing, I think my rope is too small. This slips on the shaft before this side was hitting over here, and now it's not. I don't know if it's supposed to slip on the shaft or not, but all you have to do is grab a hold of one of the pallets and then rotate this thing to where you want it. See, now it's way over there, so you just rotate it where you want it. To be, and find that adjustment that you want. Now it's too far over, so I have to put it back. I got a pair of pliers around here somewhere. Every time you want to do a video, something always goes wrong. So there we go. Still a little bit too far this side, so I'm bring it back the other way a little bit. Pallet's not catching correctly, so bring it back. Just a fine adjustment that you have to find to where you're happy with it. And I'm happy with that. but my rope is too small. So I'm going to have to find some better rope. I can get my camera to shut off now. So, I checked my supplies. I had this rope, and it's pretty loose in that slot. This rope is tighter, but it's still loose. This bungee cord seems to fit the best, but it sinks in there, so it's nice and tight. What would have made this clock better if they would have had pins in here to grab a hold of the rope. But over time, I guess those pins could break your rope. Or if they would have had pins so you could put a chain on it. I just got to find the right rope to make this thing work. And it takes a lot of pressure too. It might take this is easy, but for this, it might take a 1,500 gram weight or more to make this thing work. I think my buddy said his is 1,600 grams. But what I'm getting at is it's going to take a lot of pressure to make this thing work. And the right rope. Like I said, the bungee cord works the best. It seems to fit in there. And again, I don't think I got the right weight on here. But it was ticking. Not quite the perfect setup for hanging this clock. Now I have the rock, which is over 1,300 grams of weight, and a 1,500 gram cuckoo clock weight. So you're looking at 3,000 grams of weight close to it. And it's not working, and it has something to do with the bungee cord being too tight in the system. Again, I think if they would have put little nails and used a chain, or made the pulley different to where the rope grabs tighter versus slipping, it would have worked better. My friend's pulley is a little bit different than this one. I'm thinking I put a rubber band in here, hoping that the rope will grab a hold of that rubber band versus slipping. So we'll find out. The rope is not slipping, but I don't think my rock is heavy enough. Not quite there. I added the 1,500 gram weight. And it was ticking. And I think I found the issue. Great wheel, end shake. Escapement wheel, end shake. Second wheel, no end shake. So once I get it end shake, it should work. So I'm going to take all this back apart and see if I can get some end shake in that second wheel. So we'll be back. Using a cutting broach and broaching out the holes, the bushings a little bit. Now we have end shake. Now I need to take a smooth cutting broach to that also. So now with it back together, great wheel, escapement wheel, second wheel. They all have end shake now. Like I said, I think I need a heavier rock. It's only 1,300 grams, but it is ticking. And I believe that the rocks I have on top are too heavy for it, but it is ticking. It's just something fun to play with. Yeah, quit. Because those rocks are too heavy. But without those rocks on it, see how fast it ticks? You need the rocks on it to slow it down. Taking some weight away, I got a 1,500 gram weight on it, and it's ticking. Also, this thing has to be level, and when it gets off level, quit ticking. But you know, it's pretty cool. I wanted the rocks because that's what they originally came with. And for some reason, it quit ticking there. So it's not quite done, but of course I haven't oiled the movement since I've taken it apart, and it needs to be oiled because it's still on brass bushings. I think I'll do that next. I keep stopping on me. I put a black mark right here, and I'll push it so it ticks past this section here, and it stops in this area again where that black mark is. This time I put a black mark on this gear also, because I think this gear only rotates once for this gear. So you're going to be my witness and watch it make a pull out of me. At least the rubber band is working so the rope don't slip. And like I said, it's a pretty cool clock. And 30 minutes time span, it gained an hour and a half. So that's why you need those rocks up there. Less than 30 minutes time span. There's my black mark coming up, and it'll stop in this area right here. Like I said, it's stopping in about the same spot every time. So that tells me it could be a tooth, or it could be these pins are bent wrong somewhere. So it's going to take some more investigating. But it's just one of the things that I was wanting to point out. Mark your wheel somehow to see if it stops in the same spot all the time, or close to the same spot. And then you can narrow it down. What's going on? There's that black mark, and it stops. So it's going to take some more investigating to find out why it's stopping. I'm going to look at these pins first. But I think it might be this gear right here. Because like I said, I think that rotates once. For this, for each time the big wheel rotates. Stopped in the exact same spot again, right here. So, and I don't know why I was saying that. This thing is connected to this. So yeah, the pinion gear only rotates one time around also. For the big wheel to rotate, the wheel itself to rotate one time also. And so, anyway, it's either in this pinion gear or it's in these pins right here that are bent. Escapement wheel off, look under my microscope, and I love my microscope. These pins are extremely filthy. So I'm going to clean them up with my Dremel and see if that resolves the issue. They look rusted. I don't see any that are bent more than any of the other ones, but they look rusty as crap. As far as the pinion gear, I don't see any. I don't know if I can zoom this thing in right to show you all. It's too close. But anyway, I don't see any damage to the pinion gear. That black is my permanent marker that I put on it. Well, you can't say that they're not clean now. If I can show it to you. I think my light is affecting this thing, so let's try it there. They're all cleaned up. So, no bent pins. They were dirty. All cleaned up. Well, I had the Dremel out. I cleaned up the pallets. Also, they're nice and shiny now. Cleaning all that up, it's still stopping in about the same spot. So it must be something in that pinion gear that I'm not seeing. Even with double the weight, it still stops in the same place. I took the smooth coating broaches to the bushing some more. I think it has something to do with the position of this arm. I need to watch my feet when I position this arm. Because, let me show you. After it gets to that black spot again, and here's that black spot coming up. Hopefully you can see it. Same spot. With you doing this, it bypasses the pallets. So be careful with that. Who would think that such a simple clock would create so much issues? I took a piece of sandpaper and I sanded out every tooth, every pinion gear, and yet the clock still stops right here, and it will not start again until that black mark is past this gear here. Okay, it started before that gear, but that black mark will stop right here every time. And it's really weird. The only thing I haven't done was put new pivots in. So that's probably going to be my next step. there's that black mark. And it's going to stop right here. Every time. That's really weird. It ticks along fine until that mark gets here every time. So I'm thinking there's something wrong with the pivots on this second wheel. So I took the old ones out, and they're 2 millimeters in diameter, 1.98. And I used a drill bit, and I made some more. So hopefully that will resolve this issue, and we'll go from there. I now have plenty of inch shake, and the wheel spins really well in both directions. Before, when you put it here, it would spin, but not that freely. This thing spins really well now. And what I ended up doing was sanding down the pivot a little bit more. The bushings in this clock are, you're putting brass bushings in a wooden frame, so they don't really hold that well, I guess is the word for it. And so I should be able to put this thing back together now, and it runs properly. When I was trying to broach out the bushings, they actually come out of the holes and got stuck on my broach. Still stop in the exact same spot, and I made a little mark on this wheel. There's one tooth that's damaged, if I can show it to you under this microscope. Anyway, this tooth right here, it's got a little bit of a break in it. Right here. But I don't think that tooth, because this is my original mark, I don't think that tooth is part of that. I could be wrong. I have to put it back together now that I've got a mark on it to see if it's affecting the wheel. Stops at the exact same spot. My mark where it stops, and if you go opposite of that, this is the tooth that is broken, and as you can see, it's not even catching any gears. I finally figured it out. You see that black dot there? That's about where it was stopping. I need to touch it up a little bit more, and I'm going to show you what I did. But it continues to tick. This is that second wheel. And this is where it would stop, and this is the 9 o'clock position, but it would stop right here. Right here's the 9 o'clock position. So what I did was take a square file, tapered square file, and from this point to this point, I filed out the edges some, like this. Because it's wood, the only thing I could say is maybe it got wet and the parts swelled up a little bit. Like this section right here, it's a little bit tighter for the file to get in. At first, I did the pinion gears, because that's where I thought the issue was in the pinion gears. But it, after I filed them down, I put it back in the clock and it would stop. And so I finally, like this is a teeth prior, and the file fits in there really nice. But when you get over some, I gotta find that one spot. When you got over some, and the file didn't fit in there that nice, so like that was a spot right there. And this is the spot right here. But that's what made it work. A bit of FYI, to take this thing apart, you have to pull this up to get the rod out of this eye bolt, and you want to make sure that goes back in the eye bolt, or your weights will drop on you. Like I said, the entry pallets and the exit pallets, they need to be in the middle of these pins. And then you adjust this system by holding the top with a pair of pliers and then turning this. If I turn it too much, it doesn't move. So you have to hold the rod and then rotate this to get it to move. And if you turn it too much, it doesn't move. So again, you have to hold it, you have to position it just right. And if this was up higher to where it cleared this top part here, and I don't have it that way for a reason, if it was up higher to where it cleared this top part, this would spin. So I don't want it up that high. That way this hits this top board here. Whether that's right or not, I don't know. But that's the way I want it. Still using the rubber band to hold my rope. But you have to make sure, again, that this rod, the shaft, is in the eye bolt. Because if it's not in the eye bolt, it might start to tick on you, but then it messes up. And that's why it needs to be in the eye bolt. That way, the pendulum mount stays where it needs to stay. Still ticking, even with my lighter weight on it, which is only about 1,200 grams, but I don't think it's heavy enough. I'm gonna go find a heavier rock. And I need to find some smaller rocks for the top of the pendulum, because these rocks are too big. So I went out to the creek bed and looked for rocks. You know how many rocks you gotta pick up to find one that weighs about 1,600 grams? A lot. And your scale, if you lay it on the ground, it throws your readings off. So I had to, because I didn't bring a flat surface with me, or a table, I had to carry the rocks back to my truck where I had the scale laying on the hood of my truck. I found some rocks that weighed over 2,000 grams. I brought them home, and then I looked at my concrete pad, and lo and behold, that rock there weighed a little over 1,600 grams. So I got some smaller rocks, and by the way, I didn't like the wire, how I wrapped it around. I saw a Seth Lingenfelter, Clocks with Seth, a recent video where he used a rope-like system with those knots in it to secure a weight. Seth does professional videos. He is very talented with his videos. I always leave in my videos recently, here past several months, a section where I say, please subscribe to these videos to learn clock repair, see great clocks, or buy cuckoo clocks. I always mention Seth's channel. Check out his channel, subscribe to his channel, support his channel, along with the other people that I leave in the comments or in this video. But man amazes me with his professional videos. Way more professional than my videos. So I got these smaller rocks to put up on top, but they're still too heavy. I need about half this size. Or I need to get a heavier main weight. I'm going to try the smaller rocks first, since I just got through tying that on. These counterweight rocks weigh about 60 grams. So I got some smaller ones that weigh about 20 grams. So I'm going to try the smaller ones. And my main rock, which I still need to clean up, it weighs 1,670 grams, which should be plenty. And with the 20-gram weights, it's working. I've got a hair tie, a temporary thing right now. I need to put the hands on and see if it's going to keep time. But we are getting there. Now, looking at some of these other clocks online, some of the older clocks, they have more than a main weight and a counterweight. They had a place to stop the rope. You know, I had this thing on my test stand, and the rope would go through here, and I didn't want it to. So I added this clip, this U wire. That way when the clock is done, the wire will stop it. Put a new rope on. Time to hang this thing up and let her run. The problem in my house is where to hang clocks at. This is just my bedroom. No space. The main part of my house. No space. Yeah, my house is a mess. Like I said, it's 95 degrees in here. You wouldn't worry about cleaning up your house either if it was 95 degrees inside your house. So, here I have it in my part of my kitchen area. I made the rope long because I was hoping I could hang it up high. I have another clock that I want to put there, but anyway, it's right here. I would suggest, if you're going to have a clock like this, maybe you don't want to use a rock, because over time it's going to leave a mark on my freshly painted wall, but such is life. But I'm still going to have to adjust the time. I put a different rope on, and I'm waiting for 4 o'clock to set it at 4 o'clock. But anyway, I hope y'all like this video. Please leave me some comments. Sir Lucky, if you include the clock that I fixed for Ron's birthday, my daughter's clock, my grandfather's clock that's almost done, and this clock is 3.95, because I'm about 95% done with that grandfather clock. Compared to your 7 or 8, I'm catching up with you, and now that you're back to work, I'm going to surpass you, depending on how I feel, of course. But I'm getting there. One last thing I want to mention, this screw right here, you want to make sure that the screw head is sticking through the board. And also this piece here that the fishing line goes on, you can barely bend it up or lower it to get those pallets in the middle of the pins on the escapement wheel. Pretty cool clock. And I've got other clocks I need to work on. And I got to give a big shout out to my friend Gene for mailing me this clock. You know, I always thought they were cool, always wanted one, but I never took the time to buy one. But I really appreciate it, Gene, for giving me this clock. It was interesting to work on.